You're not family anymore, Mom hissed, her voice sharp as glass as she turned her back to me. The words cut deeper than any slap could have. I stood frozen for a second, my heart pounding in my ears. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us, what would you do in this situation? Be honest. Tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. The living room was full. Relatives, cousins, neighbors who'd dropped by because my sister just announced her engagement. The clinking of glasses and murmurs stopped the second my mother's words hit the air. I swallowed hard, trying not to let them see the way my hands trembled. "So that's it?" I asked, my voice cracking but loud enough for everyone to hear. "After everything I've done, after the nights I stayed up helping Dad with the business, after all the years I carried this family when no one else would, you're just erasing me?" Mom didn't turn around. She just lifted her wine glass, dismissing me like I was dirt under her heel. "Pick up your things, Claire. Don't make a scene." That broke me, but it also lit something inside me. I felt every pair of eyes on me, some pitiful, some gleeful. My sister smirked like she had finally won the invisible war she'd been fighting with me since childhood. I bent down, picked up my worn leather bag from the floor, and slung it over my shoulder. "Don't worry," I said coldly, my voice steady now. "I won't be back. But remember, you chose this." The silence in the room was suffocating. Even Dad looked away, ashamed. No one spoke up for me. No one. I turned, walked to the door, and left. That night, I barely slept. Every word replayed in my head like a knife twisting deeper. The years of being the invisible daughter, the one who sacrificed, the one who was mocked for not being enough. It all rushed back. But they didn't know one thing. I wasn't alone anymore. And the next morning, when the heavy knock thundered on their front door, my family had no idea who was standing on the other side, or how his very first words would turn their smug smiles into stone. The front door rattled under the heavy knock. My mom frowned, clearly irritated. "Who is that so early?" she muttered, setting down her glass. It was barely 9 in the morning. My sister, Emily, strutted across the living room in her silk robe. "Probably a delivery for me," she bragged, flashing her engagement ring at the group of relatives still lounging around after last night's gathering. But when she swung open the door, her mouth fell open. Standing there wasn't a delivery man. It was Ethan Matthews, my husband. Tall, broad-shouldered, his dark tailored suit clung perfectly to his frame. His jawline was sharp, his expression unreadable, but his eyes were burning with a cold fire. The entire room fell silent. Good. "Morning?" Ethan said calmly, his voice cutting through the air like steel. "I'm here for my wife." Gasps rippled through the relatives. My mom stiffened. My dad's face went pale. Emily stammered, "Wife?" Ethan's gaze swept over the room, lingering on each face until every person lowered their eyes. Finally, his gaze settled on my mother. He stepped inside without asking permission, the sound of his polished shoes echoing off the hardwood floor. "You said Claire isn't family anymore," Ethan said, his tone deadly serious. "That was your mistake, because the second you turned your back on her, you turned your back on me." Mom's lips parted, but no words came. The power had shifted so fast she didn't know how to react. Ethan continued, his voice carrying the authority of a man used to commanding rooms full of executives and board members. "For years, Claire carried your burdens. She sacrificed her dreams, her peace, and her happiness just to earn scraps of your approval. And how do you repay her? By humiliating her in front of a room full of people?" Dad tried to interrupt, his voice shaky. "Now, wait just a second." "No, you wait," Ethan snapped, his voice sharper now. "You sat there while your wife cut your own daughter out of her family like she was trash. You let it happen. You've been letting it happen her entire life. And I'm here to tell you, it ends today. The room was frozen. Emily looked like she wanted to disappear. Even the nosy relatives leaned back in their seats, trying not to breathe too loudly. Mom's face flushed red, anger and embarrassment battling in her expression. You don't get to walk in here and lecture me. This is my house, not— For long, Ethan interrupted, his tone suddenly calm again, almost chilling. See, the thing you don't know, Margaret, he said her name with deliberate coldness, is that this house? It's not yours anymore. The air shifted instantly. My mother blinked, her jaw slack. What are you talking about? Ethan smirked, pulling an envelope from his inner jacket pocket. This house has been in foreclosure for months. Claire and I bought it out. As of yesterday, we're the legal owners. The silence that followed was deafening. I stepped inside then, my legs shaking but my heart steady. Every face turned toward me. I locked eyes with my mother, the woman who had just erased me from her family hours before. You said I wasn't family anymore, I said softly, but my voice carried across the room. You're right, I'm not. I don't need to be. Because I have a family who actually loves me, and a husband who respects me enough to fight for me. Emily's eyes darted around, desperate for someone to defend her. Dad buried his face in his hands. Mom stumbled back, her glass slipping from her fingers and shattering on the floor. This is a trick. You're lying. Read the papers yourself. Ethan cut in smoothly, tossing the envelope onto the coffee table. You pushed Claire away, and in doing so, you lost everything you thought you controlled. I glanced around the room, my voice steady as I added, all of you laughed when she called me useless last night. All of you stayed silent when she told me I wasn't family anymore. But silence is complicity, and today, you're going to see what that silence cost you. The relatives shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting between me and Ethan. Mom's hands shook as she fumbled with the papers. Her face drained of color as she scanned them, realizing every word was true. The Queen of Control had just lost her throne, and Ethan, standing beside me, made sure everyone in that room knew it. The papers trembled in my mother's hands as she read line after line, her lips moving silently, her face draining of color with every word. This isn't possible, she whispered, her voice breaking. How could you? Ethan leaned forward, his voice low and deliberate. Because while you were too busy mocking your daughter, dismissing her as worthless, she was building a life you knew nothing about. And now, you're standing in a house that no longer belongs to you. The words landed like a hammer. Gasps rippled again through the room. My aunt covered her mouth. My uncle muttered something under his breath. My sister Emily stepped forward, her voice rising. This is ridiculous. Claire, owning our house? She can't even— She stopped mid-sentence, realizing she was exposing exactly how little she thought of me. I looked at her squarely, my voice sharp. Can't even what, Emily? Can't even succeed? Can't even live without being your family's punching bag? You always thought you were above me. But tell me, who's above who now? Her face flushed red, her fists clenching. Dad finally spoke up, his voice heavy. Claire, please, let's not do this in front of everyone. I snapped my gaze to him, anger bubbling. Oh, now you care about appearances? Last night, when I begged you with my eyes to stop her from humiliating me, you looked away. You always look away. Maybe that's worse than anything Mom ever said. He dropped his head, shame etched into his features. For the first time, I saw regret flicker across his eyes. But regret didn't erase years of silence. Mom slammed the papers onto the coffee table, her voice shrill and cracking. So this is revenge, then? You think owning this house makes you better than us? Ethan's reply was calm, but every word dripped with authority. No, this isn't about revenge. This is about respect, something you never gave your daughter. All Claire wanted was love. You refused her that, so she built a life without you. And whether you like it or not, she's stronger than you ever imagined. I stepped closer to Mom, my hands no longer trembling. You told me I wasn't family anymore. Fine, I accept that. But hear me now. You're not in control of me anymore. Not my choices, not my future, not my happiness. Her eyes widened, tears brimming, but her pride kept her mouth sealed. Emily tried again, desperate, her voice high-pitched. You'll regret this, Claire. You think this makes you powerful? You're just... Ethan cut her off with a single glare that silenced the room. Enough! You've all had years to break her down. Those days are over. I felt the weight lift off me in that moment. The years of rejection, the sting of every cruel laugh, the hollow silence of never being defended. All of it was being crushed under the look on their faces now. For once, I wasn't the weak one. For once, they were the ones cornered. The relatives shifted uneasily, no longer on my parents' side. Some whispered, others avoided looking at me altogether. The same people who laughed at me last night were now pretending they hadn't. I straightened my shoulders and looked around the room. This isn't just about property. This is about me finally walking away with my dignity. You wanted me gone. Mom? Congratulations. You got what you wanted, but you didn't expect me to walk out stronger than you. The silence was brutal. My mom's face was a storm of anger and disbelief. Emily's jaw was clenched so tight I thought her teeth might break. Ethan placed a hand gently on my back, steady and grounding. We'll give you until the end of the week to move out, he said calmly. After that, you're trespassing. Mom gasped. Emily's hands flew to her mouth. Dad whispered something that sounded like a plea, but it didn't matter. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't begging for a seat at their table. I was standing tall at my own, and judging by the way every pair of eyes in that room watched me, none of them would ever forget it. The air in the living room was thick, like everyone was holding their breath. My mother's knuckles were white, as she gripped the edge of the couch, glaring at me with eyes that had once only shown scorn. But now, fear. You can't just erase us, she spat, her voice breaking. We're your blood. I exhaled slowly, my voice calm but firm. Blood doesn't make a family. Actions do. And when you told me I wasn't family anymore, I finally believed. You. So don't twist this now. You made your choice. Emily stomped forward, desperate to regain control, her ring flashing under the light. Fine. Take the house. You'll see what it's like when everyone laughs at you instead of us. You'll always be beneath us, Claire. Always. Ethan's laugh was short, sharp, and humorless. Beneath you? He stepped toward her, towering over her as she shrank back. Claire built her life from nothing. She worked, she sacrificed, she earned everything she has. You've lived off handouts and manipulation. When the lights go out and the walls... Close in, let's see who people respect more. The woman who fought for her dignity, or the spoiled daughter who only ever took. Emily's lip quivered, but she turned her face away, unwilling to meet his eyes. Dad spoke again, his voice rough, almost pleading. Claire, I know I should have defended you. I know I failed, but please, don't do this. Don't cut us out. I stared at him, my chest tight. A part of me wanted to believe him, wanted to cling to the idea that maybe he cared. But the memory of every time he stayed silent was louder than his apology. I gave you years to stand up for me, I whispered. You chose silence. Now I'm choosing peace. The relatives were shifting, some standing, realizing they were witnessing the collapse of a family they once admired. Their murmurs filled the room, sympathy from a few, shame from others. But none of it mattered anymore. Ethan slipped his arm around me, his presence steady as a rock. "We're done here," he said flatly. But I wasn't. Not yet. I turned back to my mother, meeting her eyes one last time. "You once told me I was a burden. Last night you told me I wasn't family. Today I tell you this. I forgive you, but I will never forget. You'll live every day knowing the daughter you threw away became stronger than you ever imagined." For the first time, her face cracked. Her pride faltered, her chin trembling, but no words came. I stepped toward the door, Ethan guiding me. As we reached it, I paused and turned back to the room one final time. "Enjoy your week," Ethan said coldly. "After that, this is no longer your home." And with that, we walked out. The sunlight outside hit my face like a cleansing fire. My chest felt lighter than it had in years. For so long, I had begged for a place in their world. Now, I had built my own. Ethan squeezed my hand as we reached the car. "You did it," he said softly. I smiled through the tears in my eyes. "No, we did it." Behind us, the house stood quiet, heavy with silence. For once, it wasn't me carrying the weight of shame. It was them. And as I drove away, leaving behind the family that had tried to erase me, I realized something powerful. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't anger, or money, or control. It's living free, finally free, from those who never wanted to see you rise.